If they ever find my body, I hope they also find this recording. Because I didn't die of a fall, or dehydration, or getting lost, like they'll probably write in the report. Something was down there with me. And judging by the way it moved, I wasn't the first person it chased through those tunnels. An impact hit the rock behind me. Heavy, wet, fast. I whispered into the radio, breath shaking.
Don't open the hatch. Anyone who goes down here doesn't come back up.
A scrape. Closer. Then everything went black. Let me explain how it started. Two days earlier, I was assigned to track a missing hiker in Sector 9, a stretch of the Appalachians known less for scenic views and more for the number of people who vanish between tree line markers. 32 disappearances in 1 year. Most rangers shrugged it off as terrain, bad luck, or poor planning. I didn't buy it. The patterns were too tight, too similar. The latest case was fresh. A 27-year-old named Caleb Morris, last seen heading toward the Ridge Trail. Weather clear, gear in good condition, experience above average. A simple day hike. No reason for him to disappear. I left base at noon and made it to Sector 9 by early afternoon. The forest greeted me with an unnatural stillness. Not a single bird call, not even the buzz of insects. Just the crunch of my boots on dead leaves. Within an hour, I found Caleb's trail. His footprints were clean and easy to follow until they weren't. They ended abruptly at a patch of flat stone, dry and undisturbed. No sign of a struggle. No indication he'd slipped or changed direction. Just steps, then nothing. I circled the area twice, scanning for broken branches, discarded gear, any clue. Nothing matched. The woods felt hollow, like a room with furniture removed. I tried my radio. Static. Not unusual, this deep, but the silence pressed in harder than normal. I pushed farther downslope, checking the time. Sunlight was thinning between the pines when a faint glow appeared through the trees. Orange, warm, moving. A fire. I froze. There were no cabins in Sector 9, no outposts, no hunting shacks left standing. I knew every structure on the map, and this wasn't one of them. I made my way toward the light, hand near my holster. The trees opened into a small clearing, and there it stood, a crooked wooden cabin. Smoke curling from a rusted chimney. Inside, a stove crackled with fresh logs. Everything in me said someone was here, but the cabin didn't smell lived in. No food, no clothing, no bedding, no personal belongings at all. Just a table, 2 chairs, an empty shelf, and the fire. Like a staged room. "Hello?" I called. "Park Ranger, announce yourself." Silence. I checked the perimeter. No tracks other than mine. No signs of recent human movement, except the burning stove. Night was settling thick between the trees. Hiking out in the dark would have been reckless. I'd slept in stranger places on rescue missions. One more night wouldn't kill me. I locked the door from the inside, unrolled my sleeping bag on the cot, and kept my radio close. The fire popped steadily, the only sound in the entire sector. Around midnight, something hit the cabin wall. Hard. Once. Not an animal. Too heavy. Too solid. I sat up, knife in hand, listening for footsteps. Nothing followed. At dawn, I stepped outside to check the perimeter again. The forest was still dead quiet, but behind the cabin, half covered in dirt and leaves, something metal caught the early light. A square outline in the ground, a steel handle, a hatch. I brushed away the debris and pulled. Hinges groaned. A rush of cold air spilled upward. Below me, a vertical shaft stretched into darkness, with a steel ladder disappearing far past where the morning light reached. No one had reported any underground structures here. Nothing on maps, even the old bootleg ones locals sometimes handed down. Yet this hatch was real, solid, clean, like someone maintained it. If Caleb had come across this, curiosity alone could have pulled him inside. I tightened the straps on my pack, aimed my flashlight down the shaft, and muttered under my breath, "Damn it, kid. Please don't be down there." I grabbed the ladder and climbed into the dark. The ladder felt endless. My flashlight finally caught the floor, a packed earth tunnel, tight and cold enough that every breath fogged in front of me. I marked the wall with orange tape and moved forward. Something was wrong immediately. The tunnel walls weren't rough like natural soil. They were smoothed in long, uneven arcs, as if something had brushed against them again and again over years. 20 steps in, my boot nudged an object, a backpack. I lifted it, shining my light on the tag, Caleb Morris. Inside, torn protein bars, a crushed disposable camera, a water pouch with a ragged bite ripped through the plastic. I tried my radio. Dead. No static, no hiss, just silence, like the signal was being swallowed. Farther in, the tunnel bent sharply, then sloped down. My GPS flickered once and shut off. I kept placing tape, but the deeper I went, the harder it was to shake the feeling that the tunnel wasn't following a natural layout. Every bend came too suddenly, too sharply angled, like a maze designed without human proportions in mind. Then I heard it. A faint scrape, far away. Stone against stone, slow and deliberate. I froze, held my breath, listened. Nothing. Then the sound again, only a little closer. I moved quickly until the tunnel opened into a small chamber littered with debris. A cracked GoPro lens, a broken trekking pole, a jacket stiff with dried mud, a rain poncho belonging to a man who disappeared last winter. Not one victim, multiple. The center of the room held a deep, wide groove carved into the soil, dragging toward a narrow side passage. The beam of my light caught something pale at its edge, a human fingernail. My knees nearly buckled. I forced myself toward the side tunnel, lifted my flashlight, and froze. A shape stood far down the corridor, still, tall. Not quite the height of a person, but close enough that my brain tried to force it into something human. "Caleb?" My voice cracked. The shape didn't respond. It didn't move until it tilted. A slow, unnatural angle, like its neck bent too far to be real. Then it slipped backward into the darkness without a footstep or sound. I stumbled away, breathing hard. My flashlight flickered, once, twice, then steadied. I turned to check my tape markers on the wall. Gone. All 3 strips. Gone without a trace. I pressed my hand against the wall, smooth, undisturbed, as if I had never placed anything there. My pulse pounded in my throat. The tunnel behind me looked different, narrower, or maybe it curved differently. I wasn't imagining it. Something here was shifting. A scrape echoed again, much closer. I backed toward the chamber's center, gripping my flashlight tight enough to hurt. The air felt heavier, like the space itself was closing in. "Okay," I whispered to myself. "You came here to find one missing hiker. You're leaving. Now." Another scrape, followed by a slow, dragging sound. Not approaching in a straight line, but circling. As if whatever was down here already knew which tunnels connected and which ones didn't. I turned toward the path I thought I'd come from. The tunnel was no longer there. Where an open passage had been just a minute earlier, There was now a flat, smooth wall of packed earth, as if something had scraped the whole corridor clean. I blinked, thinking I'd taken a wrong turn, but no. The path had vanished completely. Another scrape, this time not behind me, to the left. I raised my flashlight. The dead-end tunnel that had been sealed moments ago now stretched forward, freshly carved. Dust still hung in the air. The thing down here was changing the tunnels on purpose, hurting me. I moved, every step tighter in my chest. The air grew damp, heavier. The walls pinched inward, then widened again. The angle of the path shifted as I walked, a gradual bend to the right, though seconds earlier it had been straight. Something was reshaping the earth itself. My boots kept hitting objects scattered on the ground. I didn't pay attention at first, then shined the light down. A watch, a single earbud, a torn backpack strap, a tourist map, a set of keys with a Great Smoky Mountains keychain, and farther in, more. Dozens more. A camera without its lens, a cracked flashlight, a busted canteen, a ripped belt, broken glasses, not arranged, just left where they'd fallen. 32 missing people, all of them ended here, and now me. I quickened my pace. The tunnel shifted again. I heard it this time, a subtle crunch, like the ground adjusting its shape. The passage that should have taken me back instead sloped downward at a sharp angle. I steadied myself against the wall and climbed down, breathing hard. The scraping returned, louder, sometimes behind me, sometimes above, sometimes at my side. The acoustics made it impossible to tell, or maybe it really was that close. The slope opened suddenly into a wide chamber, and my flashlight finally revealed everything. The floor was layered with belongings, not in piles, in strata, as if each disappearance had left a sediment of personal items year after year. I stood frozen, silence pressed against my ears. Then the tunnel behind me shifted again. The sound was unmistakable this time. Earth dragging against earth, pulled into a new shape. I turned slowly. The passage had stretched taller, wider, and in that new height stood a figure. At first a shadow, then a silhouette. Tall, wrong in proportion, human-shaped only in the vaguest sense. It stepped forward. The packed dirt sinking under its weight, as if welcoming it. I backed away. My heel hit something. A pile of scattered items. Someone's watch, someone's jacket, someone's phone, all ending here. I grabbed my radio. No signal, but the recorder still worked. I hit the button, my voice shaking.
Don't open the hatch. Anyone who goes down here doesn't come back up.
The figure stepped again. The tunnel shuddered, obeying it. The ground beneath me shifted. My flashlight flickered and died. Darkness swallowed everything.